Welcome to our van life with our three little good dogs, episode 67. Our Volta is broken and it's only the second day of our road trip to Canada. Join us, we figure out what we will do next with having no power in the middle of summer. We are stopped at Ace Hardware. It's doing more troubleshooting and currently 10:37 in the morning. We had about 10 hours of driving still to go. But now we have to figure out where we're going to stay for the night since we have to find an RV park so that we can be connected to shore power. Chihuahuas had a good potty break earlier and now they're back in the bag. Trying to figure out what we're going to do because I want to go home to Canada and see my family. And I think that's still the plan. But my biggest concern is how we're going to live in the van if we don't have power.
The only other thing that, hang on, when we leave the AC on. The only other thing that we did was just run the AC. I think we're charging. I think it's just the screen. Because it's pinned at 20. If it wasn't charging, we'd be down. So we might be okay. I think we do test it out with the shore power to see if it moves the screen. Maybe it resets it. And we'd be okay. So at the very least, we should just look for an RV park tonight. Washington State. We left the Bend area this morning. We've been dealing with fires and smoke planning and problems with our Volta system. So we decided to call an audible and we are going to come up and camp near Mount Rainier National Park, which was about lesser of a drive than we anticipated from going to Montana today. And we're still going to figure out what to do tomorrow. But this is the White Pass Scenic Byway, shrouded a bit in some smoke, so it's not going to be as pretty as it probably is supposed to be, but it's a pretty big recreational area along the Natchez River, Natches, and there's a lot of fishing and camping and hiking all along this spot. So we're going to be camping right along the water, and we will show you what it looks like when we get there. Right now, the Volta is either not charging or it's not showing that it's charging. The Volta is our battery and power system that is supposed to charge from our 48 volt special secondary alternator up in the engine. And we did get a lot of help from folks on the Storyteller Facebook page where we were troubleshooting, mainly David and a few others. But so far, we don't think it's the alternator. At least I don't. So we're probably going to have to test out a couple things. And we're staying at a place that has shore power. So this is going to be the first time that we use shore power since we took the van off the lot.
To our campsite and we are almost out of battery, so I'll show you. Current Volta situation is we have 15 hours left. We have about 12% left, and we don't know what we're gonna do if connecting to shore power does not work, because then the house won't have a battery and we won't be able to run our equipment. So we'll see. We'll try to figure this out. So it's Sunday today, and we are going to call Storyteller or Volta tomorrow and try to figure out what's wrong with our system, and hopefully we can diagnose the problem and get it working again. Otherwise, we may have to have a change of plans, and we're currently now in Washington, kind of close to Mount Rainier, where we're almost home to Canada, but yeah, so we'll keep you updated. We will get checked into our site.
Everybody, so we have made it to Rimrock Lake up in Washington State, and this is the second day of our 2-week journey, and we do not have a functioning battery system right now. So thankfully it's been on enough to keep our fridges and freezer cold, but we're not charging from what we can tell. Potentially console is malfunctioning, but more likely than not, we made a big mistake last week. We decided to get the van truck washed professionally, and they told us just to leave the engine on. We also left our internal AC on to keep the dogs in the back very cool, and that means that the alternator, the 58 volt alternator, was on, and it potentially got sprayed with water while it was on. So that potentially blew the fuse, knocked out the ability to charge, and caused this problem. So just talking out with David, that's potentially one of the problems. The bigger issue is that you can't get those parts from anybody. So we might have to drive back down to Utah and talk to them first, but Warner Vans and Acorn Vans might have the parts, and we might have to get our fuse, potentially alternator, but hopefully not the Volta system, all replaced due to this issue. So before we do that, we're going to test a couple things. We're going to see if the system can bear a charge. So we're here at a campground with official 30 amp power. David walked me through how to best cleanly power it up. So we've shut down the Volta for now. We tested it out. We're getting a blue light on the 30 amps. So on the smart plug, we're looking good to go. Then we're going to shut down everything on the power pole, all the 20 amps and the 30 amps. We're going to plug everything in, and then we're going to power up from the pole, and then it should boot up the Volta into charge only mode, flashing green, and then we're going to power it up and monitor it after that. We're going to take a look and see if the SOC register starts moving up. If it does, that probably means that the console is working, and it's most likely our alternator or the alternator fuse that is blown. So we'll see. It's also potential that sometimes when you do this, it might send power to the alternator and have it work again if the fuse wasn't blown. So we're going to try to do some troubleshooting here. We'll let you know how it goes. We have the everything's off, all the breakers. We're going to plug in the smart plug, 30 amp, and then we're going to turn on 30 amp. We'll go double check on this side that it's blue. The power is on. It is flashing green and charge only. So it booted up on its own, and it's showing big watt intake coming in. We're going to turn this back on so our fridge can stay cold. Big shout out to David for talking me through this situation. We have the Volta on, It's slowly charging up. It was a little under 20. Probably take about 7 to 9 hours. We're going to be here overnight. So no problem there. It's not pulling what it should be pulling on shore power. It's only pulling like 1700. When I had the 12 volt freezer plugged in, about 1650. And this was an issue that another storyteller owner had. So we are going to call Volta first thing in the morning at David's definite sage wisdom. And more likely than not, this could have been related to the wash, but also could have been just wear and tear or random electronic breaking. But it could be the alternator components control, the LCD control, as well as the Volta itself having some issues. So we're going to call them. Volta has a 3-year warranty. We are still in year 1 of ownership, so we're hopeful that they'll be able to give us some guidance, and then we'll figure out what's going to happen from there. So we'll keep you up to date once we talk to Volta in the morning. What you think, Pia?
I think our plans may have changed. So we're not going up to Canada?
We'll be in Canada. But depending on what Volta advises us to do, we might be going to Utah. So might making a little Salt Lake City trip. Either way, we'll be putting some miles on this this storyteller these next 2 weeks. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be going to Canada, though. I guarantee that.
But then we can't stay at the camp.
We can stay. We just need to charge every other night, pretty much, until we get this fixed. But if they can fix it for us, like, in 2 days, then